Hello, and happy to finally meet you. So, how it started? Let's say it started uh, like a game or something because it wasn't planned. I just wanted to have a bike, but I didn't have enough money to buy one. So I basically stole my father's bike and start working on it. And it was a Yamaha Tenere, uh, kind of Parigi Dakar style bike. And I wanted to transform it into some kind of cafe racer machine. I wasn't even sure of, of what I was doing. And because in my mind it would be way cheaper than buy a new bike, but at the end it wasn't, and I ended up spending a lot more money and a lot more time than what was planned. So, but at the end, I think it was worth it uh, because at the time, basically the only social media online was the blogger platform. So I started posting the work in progress online, and from that, uh, slowly, some project proposal started to came in, and so I moved. Not I didn't jump in it. It was just a slow flow, let's say like this, and from that, basically, this is my life because it's not only my work, but I spend all my day here, and so that's it. Okay, so yes, the cherry salt is a very long story, and it's a bike I care a lot of. Um, so let's let's start from the beginning because I usually put some racing reference in all my builds, and but in this case the bike was a racing bike, so I tried to mix things up, and so I I decided to put a dustbin fairing from the GP bikes of the 50s and mix it with another kind of racing style bike, drag racing kind of bike, a very American style, like a muscle bike or something like that. And but the real reason behind the bike was that one day I saw a picture of the Sprint Beamer from Lucky Cat Garage, and I basically fell in love with it. It was the same concept and the same idea with that big fairing and a way a vintage style drag machine. And so I wanted to build something to race against him, and like it was a sort of a post-atomic kind of racing class, something like that. And actually, I did race against him in Glamsec. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, something like that. And he won. Okay, but that's not the point because that bike somehow started the whole Sultan of Sprint Championship. And if you don't know what Sultan of Sprint is, please check it out because it's this kind of let's say uh, European vintage racing freak show or something like that. It's a very unique way of doing motorcycles because it's all about having fun and push yourself and your ability, and basically to have fun, but in a very fast way. And so that's the story behind the cherry salt and why she was like this. Uh, yeah, I really don't know how to. I don't know. It's a very difficult question because I can tell you I'm not a mechanic, that for sure, but I have some trouble to telling you what I am because yeah, for sure I try to get better in what I do and try to evolve my own design, but probably bikes for me are just an excuse to change maybe things around me and to create something and possibly to just leave a little bit of a mark or some just a little bit. And yeah, let's say that in my opinion it's very close to music, because with music you start with silence and you end up with something, with a song. And with this kind of work, it's basically the same. You start with nothing, and then you end up with a tank, with a tail, a fairing, or whatever. And all these parts together makes like a music album. Okay, so for the same reason a music album should work, it's a balance kind of thing. So in music you should have an album that works altogether, because if you have only one catchy song in the whole album, you still have a bad album. And the same works, in my opinion, for that kind of motorcycles, because you need balance. If you do a bike with just one very beautiful part, the bike doesn't work, or if it's too complicated or something like that. So that's that's how I see this kind of stuff. Yes, yes, of course, and I love it. Also, I had to uh, experimented a lot in the sprint championship with nitros and turbos and stuff, and it's a fun part of this world, but I I don't think it's the most important one, because I really love to work on the design of the bike, obviously, but also on the geometry of the bike. So a bike should work well for what you want from it. And at the end, probably, I think it's just better to ride fast a slow bike than vice versa. And that's why engine work is not on the top of my list. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because I really try to work only on one project at a time. I really did, and I just it just doesn't work for me, because I don't know why. Probably I have just some kind of motor related attention deficit disorder or whatever, because I really need to jump constantly from one project to the other to keep the creation, I don't know how to call it, just to keep the interest going, because it's not that I get bored, but I kind of I really need to keep changing from one things to another. And I'm not saying it's the best business way, not at all. So please don't do it and work only on one bike at a time. But It's just, it is what it is for me. It's just working like this. So okay, so uh, I think that the most beautiful thing in design is that there are some, um, let's say, there are some lines that that you can see, but they're not physically there. Let's say like this. So it's like your brain is completing the picture, and that's a beautiful thing. And I think with motorcycle, a motorcycle should tell you something already when the bike is steady. It should give you uh, some movement already, but it will be complete only when you ride it with the rider on it. And that kind of cyborg stuff, man and machine together, it's something I think unique on on the design applied to motorcycles. So yeah, and also I think the most important part is that it's a never-ending process. So you'll never stop learning, and you will keep evolving. And so that's the most mysterious and interesting part of this, I think. Yes, yes, of course. uh, I usually work a lot in Europe, but yes, of course. The best custom motorcycle, let's see, because I think that, well, there's a lot of beautiful bikes out now, but I will try not to be obvious. So I will say probably the Britain racing bike. It's the V1000, I think. I don't know because I used to call it in Italian the V1000. So I don't know what's the real English name is, but you know what I'm talking about. And I think that that's the most beautiful custom bike ever made. And it was a racing bike, so a bike with a purpose, but it was all homemade, and the line were beautiful, the color scheme were beautiful, the technical solution were amazing, and John Britton was just a genius, I think. And so that's my top, my very top custom motorcycles. But to stay in the present, because okay, still my favorite one, but it's 20 or more years old. So I think right now Maxwell Eisen is doing the very best work out there, and it's moving so damn fast. And I really love his latest works, both from the design and the technical part. So that are my choice. 10 years? Uh, well, uh, again, I know what I don't want to, but I don't know. Well, let's say I don't want to grow bigger. That's for sure. I don't need it. I don't care about having people here working for me, or clothes brand, or opening a cafe or something like that. I really don't need that, and I don't care. What I know is that I I want to grow better. So I want to keep learning and keep exploring stuff, and be better. And maybe if something, I would love someday to move also on custom cars, because that's something I I really love. But for now, I'm totally happy with what I'm doing, and it just it's just uh, it's just a never-ending flow. So let's see what happens. Okay, thank you, and goodbye.